Have you noticed something?
No.
Our food has been changing.
What do you mean?
Food has changed a lot over the last 50 years.
Well, it's fast and easy, and we've got lots of it.
You call this food?
Of course it's food. Just read the labels. Okay, well, here. Have a nice, fresh tomato.
Wow, it's huge and so red.
Looks perfect.
But like most of our food, it's not nearly as good for us as it was 50 years ago. There's more nutrition in cardboard with ketchup. Is this really still a tomato? Where does food come from anyway?
Well, that's easy. It comes from here. Look at all this stuff.
Gee, I thought food came from somewhere else. Like here. Our food comes from a huge diversity of plants and animals with genetic roots from all over the planet.
Sure, and we can have it all right here. The choice is mind-boggling.
Not so fast. 25% of what's on grocery store shelves is processed versions of just one crop. It used to come in all kinds of varieties. Our potatoes, a few pale starchy kinds designed to feed French fry machines. In the Andes, farmers still have hundreds of varieties, but maybe not for long.
So what's happened to our food?
Well, in the beginning, people started out growing food for their families and neighbors and took the extra to market. But the road to market started getting longer, and markets got a lot bigger. And then the world's food system started changing food into something else.
What is food?
Well, you need seeds, soil, the right amount of sunshine and rain, and farmers who know and appreciate the complexity of how all these things work together. Small-scale farmers all over the world know a lot about growing food. They have had about 10,000 years of experience. They start out with these guys.
Seeds?
Yep. Complicated little packages of potential for things like taste, size, vitamins and minerals, and armed with all kinds of different ways to handle too much sun, or rain, or pests, or diseases. That diversity is the key to a healthy food system.
But if we could redesign tractors, we could probably redesign seeds and make them grow food bigger and faster, too.
Or grow food in one convenient, package-ready shape and size.
We can do that?
Oh, sure. The MH1 tomato was even designed with skin tougher than car bumpers.
And the nutrition content?
Oh, who's going to notice? And anyway, these new seeds came with their own designer fertilizers and pesticides.
Gee, this can't come cheap. Who do they write out the IOU to?
Oh, some very big seed companies, who also just happen to be some very big pesticide companies.
Wow, these newcomers meant business.
So, a lot of old ideas about seeds and soils and variety and diversity and farmers and food weren't really needed anymore.
So just how does this new food get to our dinner table now?
Through a lot of gates.
Well, just how far does the average dinner have to travel?
Oh, thousands of kilometers, give or take a few. And along the way, things have had to get very efficient. Meanwhile, back on the farm, things aren't going so well.
What's wrong?
The soils are sick and our water is polluted. Too much chemical fertilizer and pesticides.
What are all these cornfields doing?
Growing fuel for cars. And we're losing the diversity of the world's food supply. About 75% in the last 100 years.
What? No.
Yes, 90% of the wheat varieties grown in China a century ago are now extinct. In India, there were once 30,000 rice varieties, but now only a dozen rice varieties cover India's major rice growing area.
Really?
90% of American fruit and vegetable varieties have disappeared. We once had over 7,000 named varieties of apples in North America. Today, 96% of them are extinct.
But we still have lots of food in the world.
Oh yeah, sure. But while 1 in 6 people are getting sick from eating too much, another 1 in 6 people in the world don't have enough to eat. And climate change is threatening our food supply.
So where have all the farmers gone? What can we do?
Well, here's a start. Think about where our food comes from and how it's produced. Buy local, organic, and fair trade whenever you can. Support small-scale
Stop it
farmers
here, Rupa.
around the world. Make your voice heard by joining.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you so much for your patience, and everybody, thank you for your patience. I'll just share my PowerPoint. Rupa, are you sharing it, or should I share it?
I can share if you want. I will share.
I'll just share.
So just let me know which one. This
Here,
one?
this. Achha, you're sharing? Very good. So can you just, okay. So now
we can also look at time also, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So sorry for taking a little extra of your time.
No, please, Sharmila, you're most welcome.
I promise to wrap it up as soon as possible.
You're most welcome. It's so interesting.
No. Please carry on.
Just Rupa earlier mentioned that globally about 1.3 billion tons of food is wasted. But a lot, and why we have to understand the reason why it is wasted. Because of factory production. Earlier, there was no factories producing tabletop wheat and tabletop rice. Right now, what is happening? So, there was no homogeneity. There was not only one crop growing in acres of farm. But now we grow acres and acres just for food, and that too one variety. That mixing of things have increased the bulk of production, but has decreased the nutrition levels. Also, of course, the increase of population is definitely an issue. But why can't we even meet? Because there has been examples of smaller societies being able to meet their needs through local, and they're very local, and they're very much in India itself. We don't have to go out to various other countries. We have good examples in Orissa, for example. There have been SHGs that have been able to provide food for midday meals and all that. We will do it later. A large share of the world population is still consumers. And say, for example, in India, we waste about 67 million tons of food each year. And that is about, 92,000 crores, which can actually feed the whole state of Bihar. And it is the production amount of production that is annual of the whole of Australia. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So how do we feed? So what do we do? Here we have to keep in mind that we have to eat local, we have to eat seasonal. That is the most important thing that we need to do. And not to waste food. Local foods and vegetables have a lot more nutrition. They are good for environment, animals, and insects also. If we have things from outside, for example, that will not be good for the birds and the bees and all. So now let me quickly, Rupert, 2 slides, one next please. So now I'm going to talk about how not to waste food by cooking whatever comes out. So what I've done here is I've tried to use vegetables with peels, and I'm going to give you recipes of peels, and which is interesting, can be eaten, and which we need to talk about. And some may say the peels have a lot of pesticides and all, but no, it's wrong. Because whatever pesticide goes in, it also goes into the vegetables. If we are if we are eating food without pesticide, then we might as well even eat the peels too. So the next, please. Next slide, please. And here I've taken the case of Loki, or the long gourd, bottle gourd. And what I've done is I wish I could have shown you doing it, but I can't. Yes, Sukanya says bhate bhat is awesome. Bhate bhat is a mishmash of boiled vegetables which the previous slide had. It's a mishmash of boiled vegetables, which Bengalis and Eastern India, I would say, Bengalis, even in Assam, I've seen people eating it right before the start of a meal. So that is with whatever oil or ghee from top. It's not a cook, it's just mixed, boiled and mixed together. So here I'm talking about peels. Peels is the peel of lauki, which I've cut and made into light, thin slivers, boiled it nice and with water, little bit. You could pressure cook it. And this little bit of sarson ka tel, zira, or sarso, maybe, that is whatever you want. We have put sarso oil, kalonji also, and then green chili, and then dunk the peel and just fry it. It's delicious. And as well as it's nutritious. Sorry, it's nutritious too. Next slide, please. Tarboos. We all know tarboos, watermelon. We love it in summers. We throw away the rind or the peel. We throw it away. But do we really need to throw it away? Just next slide, please. What I do is I mix it up because summer has a lot of raw mango. So I mix it up. This is my recipe. I mix it up with the chopped tarboos inners, the white, not the green side. You could do the green side, but then you'll have to mixie churn it, which I don't like doing. So you just take out the inside, and then again in mustard oil you could add panch foran. If you don't have panch foran, because it's a very Bengali thing to be having panch foran at home. You could also use kalonji or nigella seeds or sarso again. Add this whole thing along with the raw mango first, and then boil it nice. Add add the peels, cut raw mangoes, add salt and cook with sugar or any other sweetener. It could be gur. I use gur as well as sugar. So this makes a nice, lovely chutney. So what I, as a home chef, I'm trying to educate people through this. And when I send out my food, next slide, please. Next slide, please. The next slide is the bata. What I do is this tarboos insides. Again, the white part, just mixie churn it and mix it with dhania patti, green chilies, and a little bit more condiments. Add a little bit, after mixing it, you can add a little bit of mustard oil and keep it in the sun for a bit. It becomes just like this. What you see here, it becomes just like this. It's a lovely chutney, raw chutney. People who eat raw, they love it here. And the next, please. The next, see what I do, I've started to do is when I send out food, I started to tell people how to eat. So I've tell them that you start with the lauki rind and you could end with the tarboos chutney. So wastage of food is something unacceptable. Even use the peel, and whatever is left can go to composting, and which Sharmila is going to talk to you about. Thank you, Rupa. Thank you, everyone.